Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now May 18th of 2022, and we're only getting closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series by, of course, Deborah Chow, that's really going to steer things in a better direction for the Star Wars universe as a whole. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we are currently in a very exciting time for the Star Wars universe, given that we have a lot of Star Wars TV shows that are being worked on at the same exact time between, of course, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, bringing a lot of new things to light here for the fans. Now, one thing that we do know about the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series is that there is going to be a lot of cameos thrown in there that's not just connected to the prequel trilogy, but that's also connected to the other aspects of the Disney Star Wars canon, as well as elements of Star Wars Legends making its way into the actual series. So, moving beyond all of this, one thing that we do know about the Kenobi TV show is that Ewan McGregor recently actually told all of the fans around the world that this is going to be a very dark and gritty show. Alright, there's nothing really lighthearted about it in the sense. It's going to be a very dark and gritty TV series, not just on Tatooine, but on other worlds such as Nur and other actual planets and worlds out there as well that will be introduced. Now, on top of all of this, one thing that Deborah Chow wanted to make sure that would actually happen for, of course, the Kenobi TV series is to really show fans that there are going to be elements in here that's going to really bring up all of the aspects of the prequel trilogy and the theming of the prequels from George Lucas, and exactly how it's going to work its way into specific scenes of the Kenobi TV series. Now, with that being said, however, what's even all the more interesting about all of this is exactly what Deborah Chow was originally going to do with the Kenobi TV show. Now, with the Kenobi series now finished and getting ready to be released on May 27th, creators over at Lucasfilm are preparing the final phase of marketing for the series. Now, it's described, however, that director Deborah Chow made the biggest decision for the Kenobi series some months ago to finalize the ending of the show. One major change that Deborah Chow made was reducing the amount of cameos that were set to appear in the Kenobi series ending. Now, originally, what was filmed for the show involved Ewan McGregor, was going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting inside of a cave gathering his thoughts with a new droid by his side as well as his Eopie sleeping in the background. Now, this is where a very distinctive voice begins to enter Kenobi's mind, the voice of Yoda reaching out to Kenobi on Tatooine from afar during his time on Dagobah. Now, this is described to be a key moment in which Yoda teaches Obi-Wan a great lesson remotely, as hinted at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Now, the scene was set to progress to a point in time where Kenobi would stand up and would begin to close his eyes, listening and talking to Yoda as they train together and find a way to connect with his old master Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, this is where Jinn's voice too begins to enter Kenobi's mind, to where Kenobi opens his eyes and is able to witness both Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost and the Force projection of Yoda, just as Luke used this ability in The Last Jedi. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, originally what Deborah Chow wanted to do in this ending of the Kenobi series is that she wanted to give Yoda a Force projection, very similar to what Luke did in The Last Jedi. Now, to me, I think that this goes to show us and confirm to us that it very is likely that it was Yoda who taught Luke this ability. Alright, so when you think about it in that sense, Luke Skywalker spent a lot of time on Ahch-To. He also spent a lot of time communicating with Yoda before the downfall of his Jedi Temple. And sure, Luke Skywalker learned a lot of new abilities if you guys have read the current canon comics and books, and there's another upcoming book all about Luke and Lando coming out this June that I do suggest that you guys go ahead and check it out. But everything related to this specifically, Yoda creating a Force projection to appear to Kenobi on Tatooine, pretty much, revealing himself alongside Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost. This sounds like it was the ultimate way to bring Yoda back into the equation, visually speaking, without, of course, anybody going to Dagobah. That, to me, I think is brilliant, and I think that it's a missed opportunity that Deborah Chow, didn't really get to actually pursue. Again, this was the alternate ending of the Kenobi series, one of the big ideas that they had, with, of course, both Qui-Gon Jinn and Yoda communicating with Qui-Gon, or should I say Kenobi, in, of course, this cave on Tatooine at the night. Now, when you look at it like that, alright, Deborah Chow cares about the fans, obviously, because she still to this day says that there are still going to be a lot of cameos in the Kenobi series, and from what we discussed a couple of weeks ago, there are going to be fan favorite cameos from episodes 1 through 3 that will appear in this series still. Now, however, the Yoda puppet here, which was originally used, was of course directly modeled from The Empire Strikes Back and more accurate than The Last Jedi's attempt. It was a scene that was going to not only perfect some of the existing Star Wars abilities in the canon, but to also show fans the 3 characters from the prequels gathering once again and having a small conversation about Lord Vader and the fall of Anakin Skywalker. Now, Liam Neeson had a batch of lines where he was going to tell Obi-Wan that he will continue to search for you, and you must stay hidden. In this original ending, Yoda eventually vanishes and stops his Force projection, and then Qui-Gon's Force Ghost has one last chat with Obi-Wan about the situation with Darth Vader. Deborah Chow originally was set to make it out that Qui-Gon Jinn would admit that this was not his fault, as one would think, but that Vader still holds some light in him and that he is a key to something, that there is a shred of Anakin left inside of him, and this is what causes Obi-Wan to still hold empathy for Vader instead of holding hate or revenge. Now, I gotta tell you guys one thing about this before we move on to the next thing, is that Deborah Chow really wants to humanize, a lot of aspects of Darth Vader. She wants to show us that very sensitive side of the character and the struggling of the character, all the injuries that he has to deal with, all of the mental scars that he has to deal with, is going to be a highlight of the show. In fact, in Chapter 3 of the Kenobi series is when Vader first appears. Just to give you guys a heads up there, the first 2 chapters on May 27th, Vader will not be absent, or Vader will be absent, I should say. So, it's going to be interesting to see exactly, how the fans react to the finalized version of the ending, which we discussed a couple of days ago, and it's also just as satisfying, but I think that this, and what Deborah Chow originally was going for, feels a little bit more fitting, and it not only kind of perfects what Luke did in The Last Jedi and kind of makes it hold more value, but it also kind of brings all 3 characters together in one big scene. So, the other thing that I do want to touch on real quick is that there is going to be a lot more stories to tell for Obi-Wan Kenobi. In fact, Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO, we talked about this, recently greenlit 2 more seasons of the Kenobi series to change it from being a limited TV show and making it into a multi-season series. Now, obviously, they want to do this because they don't want to make Kenobi pretty much, isolated. They don't want to have that as the only limited TV series, of course, of a show that holds a very popular character at that. So, that's a very smart move by Bob Chapek. He's also going to appear in other TV shows as well. They want to make sure that Kenobi's going to appear time and time again. So, with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.